Hello, I'm Mrs. J, and welcome to my math class. So today we're going to talk about effective rates. Effective rates, when you have, say like this one, 6% compounded monthly, that 6% is your interest rate each month, but a lot of times you want to know how much that'll be in a year. Because when you go to buy things or you're getting a savings account, it can tell you how much you're making in a year rather than 6% per month. Because it's not much difference, but it is a difference. And so the formula for effective rate for compounded amounts there's two formulas. One is for compounded amounts, the other one's continuously, which we'll learn right after we learn this one. So when it's a compounded amount, use this formula. The R is your interest rate, just like before, written as a decimal, don't forget that. And then the compounded amount is the number of times you're compounding it in a year. So it's not the total compoundings, it's only the number of times in a year. Monthly would be 12. And that's why our interest rate we rewrote as a decimal, and monthly became 12. So if we plug this into the formula, then we can find out what it's compounding in a year. So if we have 6% compounded monthly, that is similar to this decimal. Now, if they say to round to the 100th, it's not going to just be 0.06 because they want the percent. So we first make it a percent, which means the decimal would be here, and then we round to the 100th. So it'll be 6.17%. The 7 will round the 6 up, and you go to the 100th. So you have to make it a percent first, and then round it. Let's try the same 6%, but we're going to compound it daily. Well, how many days are there in a year? For our course, we go with 365. So that will be our C. And we plug in again. We had the same interest rate, but in this time it's 365. And then we plug that into our calculator, and you should get 0.0618313107. You want to keep a lot of the decimal places because, as we saw here, even though it says 100th, we actually needed 5 decimal places. That way we rounded it properly. Because we're going to move over 2, and then we're rounding here, so we do need to look at this one also. So you do need a lot of it. So this would be 6.18%. So having an interest rate that's compounded daily is like having 6.18% interest rate. Compounded monthly, 6.17 per year. So it's telling you a yearly rate. And those are for compounded amounts, but there's also what's called compounded continuously. And that uses an exponential function. When it's compounded continuously, then the formula is a little bit different. It's e to the r minus 1. R is still your interest rate. E is a function in your calculator. If you look where your natural log button, the ln button on the left side of your calculator is, well, usually it's on the left, depending on your calculator. It could be across the top. But wherever that is, the E is usually in the corner. You usually have to hit second and ln. But this is a function in your calculator. It's not a variable. The R is still your rate. So if we find 6% compounded continuously, then we're going to have E, and when you bring this up, it will bring a caret, which means exponent, and a parenthesis. You'll put your decimal of your interest rate, and then close the parenthesis before you subtract 1. And when you do that, you should get 0.0618365. Right. You should get this. Now again, we're rounding to the 100th, but we're making it a decimal first. So compounded continuously, if you look at the long decimals and compare them to daily, it is a little faster, but depending on where you round, it ends up being the same in this case. If you have any questions, comment below, and I'll put more problems up for you. If not, there's the effective rate.